Hello and welcome back to Press Party. I'm Katie Eastman. Now, if only Ron Burgundy was reporting for New York Magazine, they might not have to make cutbacks. But as Jacqueline Cashman reports, cutting back might not be all that bad.
In the battle between the printed and the pixelated word, another casualty. After 40 years of weekly distribution, New York Magazine will hit newsstands every other week.
On the surface, it sounds like doomsday for New York Magazine and a sign of the times. Another major media empire moving its focus to the web, away from the printed word.
There could be no more vivid example of how digital is overtaking print.
This change is bad for print, but could be good for business, since the magazine will invest the $3.5 million saved from publishing bi-weekly and instead spending it on their website. New York Magazine claims they won't lay off any people, but instead shifting their focus to where more and more people get their news, the web. One media critic put it best by saying, "So if the news about New York Magazine means that I get more of it, but digitally, I'm happy for now. I like the New York I can hold in my hands, but what really matters is the New York state of mind." For Press Party, I'm Jacqueline Cashman.
All right, so another magazine cutting back. They're going to come out every other week. Is this a bad thing? What's happening?
It's called life right now, and I think it's called evolution. I think it's incumbent upon older style companies to evolve into being able to be online and also monetize being online. When we look at Boston Globe versus Boston.com, Boston.com is throwing off a lot of money. And also, the Globe is on decent footing. But I think it's really important for all of the folks who are in media to get to where they need to get to in terms of being able to monetize that aspect of it.
This whole evolution is not something new. It actually started with PC Magazine. They stopped a print version a few years ago, and they went online to PCMag.com. And they did it incredibly successfully. Ziff Davis went from losing money to making money there. And the reason they were able to do it so well and pivot is because it was a tech-focused publication. So most of the people that were following it were able to make the transition online. Since then, where we get our news is through Facebook, through Twitter, for the masses. And what you're seeing is that is now transitioning to the other magazines. And so I think this is not the first. And there's going to be more that's going to follow.
Well, we've already seen a few. We've seen Time Magazine cut back. They're online. We've seen so many different. Will the readers of New York Magazine go online?
Yes, they will. They absolutely will. You see New York Magazine print numbers going down. Well, that's because they're in relationship to the digital online numbers going way up. So they will transfer, they'll go over. You're right, this is not the first, it won't be the last. And I'll add a word to what you said, which is it's inevitable. It's going to happen. You can't have both operating simultaneously. It has to be one or the other. Now I think there's your generation which reads print less and less and less, much less than my generation. The generation after you may not be reading it at all.
Yeah.
So and I like to point out too that the reporting styles for both of these are so different, right?
Yeah,
so when you're online, that's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week news site. You're grinding it out with that news reporting.
Are they going to hold back stories, do you think?
Maybe feature stories, but breaking news, they're not going to be able to. They're going to get beat if they do.
And you need to have you can't just put your paper into the computer screen or to the tablet. You have to have some type of unique interface in terms of the visual interface, but also how you kind of connect with people. And I get up at 5 in and read everything online, so I know what's going to go on for the day. And people, I do a little something here and that, but and then when we look at this weekend, a buddy from the Fast and Furious dying, that hit one of my Facebook friends shot me a Facebook message,
text alerts,
and then I got a text,
yeah.
And I didn't, and again, if we had to wait for it to come out in a weekly or a bi-weekly, no one would be feeling the same way.
That's how we're getting news. The news is finding us. We're not going to find the news. And so all of these outlets, not just magazines, but print in general, and even broadcast, all need to figure out ways to be able to tap into that social sharing of news.
There's for the time being anyway, though, print does serve a purpose, particularly in the newspaper industry. While for the late breaking or sudden breaking news like the death of the Fast and Furious actor, you're going to get that right away. People need that right away. They want it right away. But in print, what you do get now, as you say, is the feature story. So you get sometimes really good investigative pieces that really aren't tailored yet, organizationally speaking, in terms of the organizational model. They're not really ready for online exclusively. They are better served in print. And those are still very, very important part of journalism.
I would agree and disagree with that. I agree with it that the format is right, but that the Globe and the Herald aren't quite ready for it yet because they're so focused on newsprint. But who they're competing against are sites like BuzzFeed, which, yes, they have,
I would
LOL
hope
Cat.
that was a different category. I don't think that you would put BuzzFeed and the Globe and the Herald in
No,
the same
I
category.
certainly would. When it comes to the long-term feature research stories, if you look at what BuzzFeed is doing, they are hiring award-winning journalists that are going to be doing deep reporting in countries all over the world. That's what BuzzFeed is going after. They're going after the feature sections in the newspapers.
But what they're doing, don't you think the lists about cats kind of take away, or whatever, those cute pictures that you see online, that makes me think they're less of a news
But
organization?
see, that's why I said for the time being, because I think that the model is going to have to convert at some point when print no longer exists, and you'll be able to get BuzzFeed type sources of information that are investigative in nature. But they're hardly mainstream right now, and people aren't going to go there and get that kind of
But
information.
I think BuzzFeed is actually trying to fill that space with newsrooms that have less and less people, and that there's a lot of folks who are writing once or twice a week. I think this actually is beginning to try to monetize a model where we can actually get the type of depth that we've been looking for in the digital format.
The other thing about investigative reporting and that type of reporting is with so much public access to the internet, there has to be some system in place so you can distinguish truth from fiction. And that doesn't exist yet. You don't always necessarily believe what you're reading online, where you can believe it in print mostly.
It's very true, and a platform like BuzzFeed, they use like LOL Cats to draw people in and to get the eyeballs, right? What they're trying to do is to now cash in on that and to upsell with the feature stories, and that's where it's all going, and that's where you're going to see some of the local newspapers starting to compete with some more of these sort of national or just virtual news agencies.
All right,
My
sorry
last
to cut
word
you
is
off. All right.
it's called the New
Go.
Yorker.
All right, well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, everyone on our panel. Our media fail is next. Some local news anchors in Minnesota can't hack the cold, and they're not good at faking it either.